just form a fucking wall.
O'Neal deep in the post, lots of contact there. Oh, what a block by Wallace! What a jump ball!
Pistons down 4, 12-8, 7:38 to play in the first. A burst from Rodney, stuck into the rim. Count that baby and a foul. Reggie inside for Andre and a dynamite dunk.
Pistons fans, hello and welcome to another edition of the Palace of Pistons podcast. The whole crew here today, Brendan Johnson, myself, along with Aaron Johnson and Ryan Paye. We're amidst the offseason, boys, and the big free agency moves have started to die down. Summer league's over, and it's not like you're looking forward to the draft. So this is where you really start to get into, well, the nitty-gritty of the NBA offseason. So we'll get into some different stuff today, a couple signings, maybe some 2K ratings, Team USA struggling to keep guys on board, a few more things. But before we get into the talk, boys, how we doing today? Everybody all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I mean, the only thing I disagree with you with, which is crazy because we were doing the introduction and I still have to disagree with you, is you talked about the big free agency signings dying down. I'm not sure if you've been paying attention to what the Pistons have been doing, but I wouldn't call that a non-big move.
I mean, Brendan, I'm doing okay. I'm not going to fight with you in the intro.
Good to see you, Ryan.
It's good to see you, too. But we are in the dog days of the offseason, and just hoping for some magic somewhere along the way, because it gets lonely in these offseason times.
Oh, call a spade, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Pistons are making big moves. They've made some moves over the last week, signing both Todd Withers and Donta Hall. What appears to be like a training camp deal, giving them an opportunity to compete for a spot on the roster. If they're waived, the Drive would have their G League rights, so gives them some opportunity to make their way, whether they make the Pistons roster or if they continue to fight for that spot down in Grand Rapids. But overall, Detroit, couple of signings, both guys that were on the Summer League roster. Withers, a lot better for Detroit than Donta Hall was through the Summer League. And you have to think he's got a little bit more of a realistic chance to compete for one of those final roster spots.
Yeah, and I was joking with you, Brennan. These aren't big moves by any stretch of the imagination.
Wow, hold on. Are you calling our audience dumb? You don't think they were kidding? They know you're kidding. You don't gotta call them stupid. I got you. Don't worry.
All right. Well, Withers is the guy that I'm intrigued with here. Shot 57% from the field, 56% from the three-point line in Summer League. Averaged 10 points, 3.5 rebounds. Shoots the ball, defends at a decent level. He competes at least. Maybe if he's not the best defender, he at least competes there. And he's a guy that at 6'8" can play both the 3 and the 4. He's still relatively young at 23 years old. So I like him. He was productive, and he definitely stood out amongst a Summer League team that was laden with NBA-level guys in Bruce Brown, Steve Mihailuk, and Kyrie Thomas. Withers was a guy that stood out right along with all three of those guys and made a real impact on that team. So definitely like that signing for Detroit. He's going to fight for that final roster spot with a guy like Christian Wood. I don't know if the Pistons can make wiggle room anywhere else to fit him on the roster. It doesn't really look like it, considering their depth chart. The only other guy you can maybe see not being on the team is Langston Galloway, but you're not just going to waive a $7 million contract in Galloway. So he's kind of there until Detroit can move on from him if they deem that's what they want to do, which reports in the past have said that. But Withers is a guy that I really like. Hall, a guy that I'm not too keen on. He's a good rim protector. He rebounds. He makes his impact primarily on the defensive side of the floor, but offensively in Summer League just really struggled to finish at the rim, and that's a problem because a lot of times in Summer League you're going up against non-NBA level talent, non-NBA level defenders, and Hall still really struggled to put the ball in the basket efficiently there, just finishing off the pick and roll and lobs and second chance opportunities, and that's a pretty big problem. I think a lot of people compared him to Eric Moreland, who kind of got his start back into the NBA when he played Summer League with the Pistons. And even Moreland was very raw offensively, but he was at least completing stuff in summer league. He was still finishing dunks and finishing down low, and Hall's just not there yet. I don't want to say this is a bad signing because it's just getting your G League rights pretty much. At the end of the day, both these guys are likely to not make the roster, and they're going to play with the Grand Rapids Drive if they decide to stay in the G League. But, Hall's he's a prospect, he's a project, and if the Pistons development staff is, as good as we say they are, then hopefully they can do something right with him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason to not like these signings. They're fine because they're developmental guys who, at the end of the day, in my opinion, are going to be in the G League. I'm intrigued by Todd Withers. Like you said, he shoots well from three. That's big. In this type of offense Detroit runs, could he fight for that final roster spot? Sure. But they are pretty log-jammed at the big position, the 4 and 5, so who knows? Donta Hall, like you said, it's a project. That's fine. I mean, I feel like of anyone outside of Matt Costello, who ended up, signing in Spain, he's the one who kind of earned this training camp deal opportunity from the Summer League team. I mean, were you going to give it to Jared Utoff?
I mean, could have, but I don't know.
So
I think Costello was probably option number one.
That's what I said, but
he doesn't want to go.
He doesn't want to do that. He signed in Spain, probably a good deal for him monetarily. So outside of that, Withers and Hall were the ones who kind of earned it from the Summer League. So I've got no problem with it. They're going to be on the G League team. Todd Withers is a guy who's intriguing. Donta Hall, it's going to take time.
Well, and just another thing, Aaron, you brought up Langston Galloway for a second. And you have to think, if Detroit had any way to move him, they would have. And teams really must just be against overpaying for his services. Because, you have to wonder at least a little bit, did Dwayne Casey play Langston as much as he did last year to try to increase his value, to make him, a movable piece for this offseason, to whether it lands a trade, whether it creates some cap space to then, maybe make that a bigger play in free agency, whatnot. You have to think teams are just not interested in that deal, despite some of the production he gave and Detroit giving him generous time last year on the court.
Yeah, well, I certainly think part of the reason Galloway was played was to try to build up his trade stock, and I don't know how much that worked. And, I don't necessarily think this offseason that teams are against trading for him. He still has some value, but I think when you look at Detroit's roster, there's just other guys that you want to play. There's other young guys that you want to get on the court. And the thing is, I think there's still going to be a market, and I think there's still going to be a team that wants Galloway now that pretty much everyone is signed. There's not going to be many more free agency signings. And Galloway's going to be a guy that, a team that maybe missed out on a couple shooters and wants to add some shooting to their team. Then maybe a team will call about Galloway and say, can we give you this for Galloway? It's not going to be some haul for him. You might not even get a neutral return. You may end up losing the trade in terms of maybe having to give up a second-round pick to get off of Galloway's deal. But I think Galloway, there's still a very good chance that Galloway gets moved. I wasn't surprised that it hasn't happened yet, considering everyone's trying to spend their money on free agents and try to find the bargain deals in free agency before they lock in a guy on a $7 million deal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with you. I absolutely think he was played the amount he was played to try to increase his trade value. But at the same time, I don't think that was only it. He's a streaky shooter, but he can be a fantastic shooter at times. And I think Dwayne Casey was looking for that off the bench. And there were times when he gave that to him. So I think that's what Dwayne Casey was going for. But like Aaron said, I think you're going to honestly lose the trade in the Langston Galloway deal. I think you're going to have to give up some sort of second-round pick just to move him. Because I do believe he's no longer part of the Detroit Pistons plan. Unfortunately, I mean, for him, he's a great guy. He was fun to watch at times, but it's just not there anymore. His fit's not here anymore. There's the young guys who are ready to step up, move in, take their turn. But it's honestly, if they might even ride into the season with him for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think eventually they will come off that money, come off that contract.
Well, you want to talk about losing. On a recent episode of a Barstool Sports podcast, Blake Griffin went into some detail that he went 0 for 3 on the recruiting trail in free agency this year. Named Jeff Green as one of those 3 targets that he tried to bring to Detroit. Is this a concern? Is this just were they all Jeff Green level guys to where it doesn't really matter, or was he trying for a bigger signing and he swung and missed?
I mean, that's a great question. I don't know if any of us really have the answer to that, but
come on,
we can play hypotheticals on it.
Why don't you be like a random Twitter account with like 190 followers that just goes report showing Blake Griffin had what free agent?
Right. I mean, I'd like to hope that Blake was trying to talk to some bigger names, but if he failed, then he failed. And I don't know. To me, I feel like this happens a lot more than the way people are reacting to it. Like, people have reacted to in a way that it makes it sound like Blake is just like this guy that no one wants to play with, and the Pistons are this franchise that no one wants to go to. But at the same time, I don't think Blake Griffin is going to impact that much when it comes to a guy like Jeff Green. Like, that's not a big name.
Aren't they former teammates, though?
They're former teammates, but that's a guy that's just trying to get a roster spot, right? That's not a guy that's going to really change your team all too much. If Blake's missing on some bigger names that were out there, even though there was really no avenue for Detroit to sign them, then, well, maybe it's a different conversation. But at the same time, the Pistons made some good moves in the offseason, and the team increased their potential marginally. So it's not the worst scenario. I'm going to bet that these aren't any big names because there was just no avenue to bring someone on right now. I'm going to bet there are a lot of guys like Jeff Green. And honestly, I don't think Blake would be talking. I don't think Blake would say like a name that wasn't of any value. Like, I don't know. Let's say he was recruiting Trey Burke. It's not he was going to say Trey Burke. He was probably going to say the biggest name that he tried to get. And he said Jeff Green. So, I don't know. I don't think it's too much of a story in that sense.
You would have liked Trey Burke.
I would have. He signed with the Sixers. He has had.
Just so everybody here knows, Aaron's got a nice little Michigan shirt on right now.
Michigan basketball shirt.
And just on another side note,
it shouldn't be the Jordan logo. It should be the Trey Burke logo shot from when he made that shot against Kansas.
What year was that? Was that the 2014 draft, 2015 draft when
he was
Trey
drafted
came out?
He was drafted in 2013, right?
Yeah. Was it 2013?
13.
Anyways, I'll still remember Aaron watching the 2013 NBA draft in a hospital bed, and
down and out, but I still fought. I still watched.
And when the Pistons took KCP and not Trey Burke, like, everybody was like, "Oh my God, Trey Burke's there. He's coming to Detroit. This is incredible." And they took KCP. I've never seen just a kid down in the dumps just sink even more down in the dumps. I mean, that was utter depression for 13-year-old Aaron.
You think someone cutting your back open is the worst thing that can happen in a scenario like that, but when a team passes up on a generational level talent, I think that hurts a little bit more.
Well, I mean, yeah, you got doctors coming in. You see this kid crying, and you're like, "What can we get you? Like, what do you need? Like, let's pump him with some morphine." And he's like, "It's not the pain, it's the Pistons."
I mean, I was brokenhearted at the time too, so I understand.
I was gonna say,
pain.
I got a couple big Michigan.
It's not even the Michigan
here.
thing. It was Trey Burke had so much potential coming out of college.
Yes, he did.
And the Jazz definitely
were
a terrible situation.
Stifled that. Absolutely stifled that. Detroit would have been such a better situation for him. Really, anywhere would have been such a better situation for him.
A lot of different places would have been better. Utah was terrible.
And the Pistons took Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Who was the Pistons point guard at that time?
Wasn't it Brandon Knight?
Yeah,
I believe it was Brandon Knight.
Yeah, it was.
There was just so much potential. This was a player of the year. I mean, just a stud at the college level.
Oh, yeah. He was.
It was tough.
The thing is, now he's playing good basketball.
He's playing really solid now. He's found his footing.
I would have been happy if the Pistons
took him that
trip
to the Knicks to
get
out of his funk.
Well, when he had to go down to the G League, I think that was kind of a realization for him.
That kind of woke him
I remember
up.
reading a piece about how he talked about how he just kind of lost himself when he got into the NBA. He lost, I remember him talking about like his faith, and I can't remember if he talked about like work ethic and stuff. But then he said when he had to go to the G League to try to fight to play in the league, that's when he kind of realized he was not doing what he should be doing. And ever since, he's turned around. He's been a great scorer, reliable shooter. That's a guy that definitely is now a talent in the NBA. Like, he belongs. And I would have been happy if the Pistons signed him. I think that's a good move for Philadelphia.
I think it is too.
This late in free agency.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a really good signing.
I wouldn't have been mad with him as our backup point guard. I mean, I'm higher on Derrick Rose than Aaron is. I like Derrick Rose for the 2-year deal. But if it would have been Trey Burke, I would have been like, hey, fantastic, let's ride.
Yeah.
I could have got down to that. But anyway, we're talking about Blake Griffin, I think, right?
We were talking about 0 for 3.
Not a big deal at all. I think he was I listened to the interview. I think we all did here.
Yeah.
I think he was kind of making jokes about it and kind of making light of it because this happens in the NBA all the time. Guys try to recruit each other to play, and they swing and they miss. And Detroit had no money to play with. I mean, he was not going to Kawhi and those guys be like, hey, come play in Detroit, because there was no money. Like, not even the interest factor about playing in Detroit.
Right.
There was no money.
Detroit didn't have a max slot.
They had
they
no
were just trying, and
slot.
it didn't work.
They were only going to be able to sign guys to $5, $6, $7 million deals. So it's not a big deal. It's not like he was swinging for the fences and missed. It's not that nobody wants to play with Blake Griffin. Nobody wants to come to Detroit, even though Detroit isn't a free agency destiny, and we know that. It was just him having some fun for something that happens all the time in the league. I guarantee it.
This is typical Blake stirring the pot.
That's what he does. He knows what he's doing. The man is very, very smart. He's an intelligent sir, okay?
An intelligent sir.
He knows how to get the people going.
He does. He's been doing it all offseason.
He knows how to garner
Alexa,
interest.
play Party Rock Anthem. He gets the people going.
He literally has been doing this all offseason. And it's a lot of it's been connected with Barstool, so it's kind of like a shtick almost with him.
It is.
That's why I'm just not all like, oh my God, Blake can't recruit
you
names
shouldn't
to Detroit.
Be. It's not like they had 2 max slots to go with them,
right?
And already like a good young cast. It's like, wow, we had 2 good players. We're in the money, and no one signed. Then it'd be like, oh, okay, that might be a problem. Detroit had what? $13-14 million or whatever to play with.
Right.
You weren't going to recruit
anyone. You had
$13-14
million, and you had like 3-4 spots you had to fill. So
right.
The Pistons did everything they could.
They did. It's a non-story. It was a fun little joke he played by himself, or kind of bashing himself in a way. Like, yeah, I couldn't get anyone to come to Detroit with me. Ha ha ha.
That's just kind of how Blake is.
That's how he is.
I mean, he's a comedian.
He is a comedian.
Like,
that self-deprecation comedy. That's what he does. He's headlining Just for Laughs. He's the host in Montreal.
Yep.
The guy's a comedian.
Whoa.
He's an actor.
Blake Griffin to the Raptors? Is that what I just heard?
Blake to the Raptors?
Sources
confirmed.
Sources tell me Blake Griffin's in Montreal.
He's going to get there, and he's coming right back.
Yeah, well,
he's got a problem with Detroit weather at all. You're going the wrong way.
You're going the wrong way, buddy.
Sources say Blake's in Canada right now, meeting with Masai Ujiri at a unidentified comedy club. Just a very laid back first meeting of the two.
Blake standing there leads off with, "I would never sign with the Raptors," as he winks at the crowd. Good jokes. Good jokes.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
Not a story. All right, conclude.
Seriously, it's not a story.
Hey.
I'm 0% worried about it.
Well, and especially if the headline name is Jeff Green.
Yeah.
Jeff Green's a good friend of his.
Yeah.
Just like Chandler Parsons. Just like Chandler Parsons is a good friend. Do we really want Chandler Parsons? No. So maybe Blake Griffin also recruiting these guys is a good thing.
Right. Chandler Parsons and Jeff Green are like two of his best friends in the league. So he's probably recruiting his friends.
Right.
Hey, you want to come chill in Detroit
And plus,
with me?
it took Jeff Green a couple days to sign with the team, to agree to terms. And he said Jeff Green reached a deal 30 minutes after he reached out to him. So clearly he didn't reach out to him right away. There was something like, oh, he's still on the market. Maybe I'll reach out to him, see what's going on.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Jeff Green was like, oh, Detroit wants me? Screw that.
Right.
He already had a deal in place.
Right.
When Blake reached out to him. So don't worry about it, Pistons fans. It's okay. Non-story.
Well, Team USA fans may have something to worry about is, I don't know, about every big name is dropping from the roster. Team USA, a very different look this year. I just want to run through this roster. And, you know, we grew up on Team USA with LeBron, Carmelo, KD, Shaq, you know, just Tracy McGrady when he was in his prime, like just studly. You know, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, like you name it, right? And this year, Team USA is Harrison Barnes, Jaylen Brown, Andre Drummond, Montrezl Harrell.
He backed out.
Did he back out?
He backed out.
So it's not updated on USA.
These are just guys that are going to
website.
camp. So
These
these
are
are
just
just
guys
an
going to
official
camp.
roster.
It's
Yeah.
not even an official
Wait,
roster.
so Harrell backed out after he just
Last
got
night,
invited?
He didn't take the invite. That's
Wow.
what I saw from Shams and Woj. I could have sworn that's what I saw. Let's double check. But he's thankful for the invite, but he didn't take it.
Tell me if USA Basketball's website's inaccurate on any more of these. I have Kyle Kuzma, Brooke Lopez, Kyle Lowry, Chris Middleton, Donovan Mitchell, Mason Plumlee, Julius Randle, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, PJ Tucker, Miles Turner, Kemba Walker, and Thaddeus Young.
Yeah, it's rough.
That's
rough.
like
this is.
I
just,
still expect them to win.
Yes.
But man, that's
Well, this is
tough.
This is just FIBA, so it's not the Olympics where you're gonna get the bigger names. But even with this being FIBA, the USA guys have to kind of notice how many more international players and stars are coming into the NBA.
right.
Pretty soon, it's going to be a pretty even level playing field. I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park for Team USA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some other stars from other countries are sitting. Ben Simmons in Australia. I mean, there's a bunch of other guys too that I can't remember them off the top of my head.
But still.
But this team, there are some good names on it. No doubt about it. But I'm sorry. Mason Plumlee,
Thaddeus Young.
Kyle Kuzma. I mean, these guys just don't excite me, and don't say, oh, these are the guys that should be representing America.
Right.
In
Like Kemba,
international
Donovan
play.
Mitchell, even Dre.
Yeah,
Brooke
absolutely.
Lopez.
Dre. Well, Dre. You see, that's another thing. Drummond's never backed out of Team USA stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he's always been appreciative and has wanted to, participate in that. You know, so he's a top flight guy, I would think. And you have Kemba. So I would say your 5 best players are Kemba, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Middleton, Kyle Lowry, and Andre Drummond.
Plus, I mean, still you have 2 pretty respectable guys in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's other good players too. Harrison Barnes, PJ Tucker, Miles Turner. I love Marcus Smart. So I mean, it's still a good team, but it's not a
Heck, it's half the Boston Celtics.
it is
Right.
But it's just, to me, it's not a Team USA team.
The Celtics backcourt.
It's not. You're right, Aaron. It's not a dream team. Here's the thing. The first point you made was it's FIBA and not the Olympics. America will show out for the Olympics.
Yeah.
So there's that. The team will come together then. Second, when America's on, they've been on this dominance run again, where just no one can touch them. Mm-hmm. Guys, the interest starts going away partly in playing for Team USA for the high level guys. And then once America loses, let's say America does lose in FIBA here, they don't win gold. Even if it weren't the Olympics coming up, whatever the next Team USA thing is, all the guys will come back to assert America's dominance in basketball.
Yeah.
But another thing is, the stakes are just so high right now. How can you... I kind of understand, how can you put that at risk playing in FIBA? These guys are making so much money now. These high-level guys.
Yeah.
Why risk an injury? Wasn't it Paul George who got hurt playing for Team USA like 4 years ago?
Was it Paul George?
Yes,
He was the one who got hurt. Why, when guys are making that much money or coming into contract years to make that much money, why would you risk it playing in FIBA instead of going after it in the league for all the money? Trust me, I'm all for playing for Team USA and the pride in your country and representing your country. I don't think there's any greater honor than that. But when the stakes are so high monetarily for these guys, how can they really put that at risk?
Right. Yeah, no, it's a fair point.
I mean,
it's a fair point.
And a guy like Kemba is getting his money, and now he's going to get a chance to shine out. So, of course, he took the opportunity for Team USA.
Makes sense.
For guys like that, it makes sense. You know what I mean?
You know?
But
even a guy like Dre, who's got his player option or whatever, like, you got a little security.
Yeah, he's got some security to bring in another 28, 30
Brook
million
Lopez just signed a deal. He's got some security.
Yeah, there's security there. When the stakes are so high, I don't think these guys are going to risk it for FIBA. For the Olympics, that's one thing.
Yeah.
For this, I don't want to say that I understand, because I think you should represent for your country and we should send the highest level team and absolutely assert our dominance and show the world you can't play with us in our sport, just like they like to do with soccer for us and the men's. The women's dominate soccer, but the men, you know, that's what they like to do to us all around Europe.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't play with us. In America, I like to be like, hey, you can't play with us. This is our sport.
It's us.
But I understand what they're getting at. The stakes are so high.
Right. Yeah, no, you can't blame a guy because, I mean, you go out, especially, you're right, going into a contract year and get hurt, cost you millions of dollars.
Right.
Yikes. It's not good.
That's a lot of money that you're putting on the line if you tear an ACL or tear your Achilles or break your leg playing in FIBA, in the FIBA championship.
Yeah, I get that. I definitely do. I just know that as time goes on, it's going to get tougher for Team USA because there's just so many more international stars entering the league. But and the thing is, even if they don't finish at the top in FIBA, there's still another opportunity for them to clinch the Olympics, which if somehow this team didn't, which they still should be able to do, then you would have to imagine that, you know, your big names, your Davis, your Harden, your Lillard, they come out and they clinch the spot, because if Team USA basketball didn't make the Olympics, that would probably be the most embarrassing thing to happen in my lifetime.
There's no excuse, though.
There's no excuse.
Athletically, that would be the most embarrassing thing America's ever had to endure.
This is still a very, it's still a very good team when you look at that potential starting five, that, those top 6, 7 guys. So I don't know. Ryan, you did make a really good point that I didn't really think about with the contract situation. I mean, you look at this roster, and a lot of these guys are going to be entering the first year of their new deal, or have a player option, or just signed a deal in the previous offseason. So that's a very good point that you made. But I don't know. I mean, I'm a little concerned by it, but I kind of understand it, and I still know that at the end of the day, Team USA is still and should be better than the rest of their competition for the time being, especially with other countries still kind of dealing with some of the same issues.
Oh, no. This is still the best collection of talent going into this tournament for any team. So I'm not concerned. They should absolutely win. But to your point that you're right, the world is catching up and countries are going to start playing better ball, and it's going to get harder for America. And when it does, that's when the best of the best will come back out again.
Well, that's the thing. When you get the best of the best out, even if it gets tougher, I still think we're a long way away from the United States falling with their best talent out there in the Olympics.
When did they fall? They won bronze. What year was that in FIBA?
Oh God, I don't know.
That was some years ago, right?
I have no idea.
What was that? Like 20?
All I'm saying is, Team USA, Olympic Melo ain't walking through that door for them anymore.
No,
so,
Olympic Melo. Oh Jesus!
They gotta figure it out. Olympic Melo ain't coming back the same.
What was that?
Olympic Melo's trying to get into the league.
Olympic Melo. Jeez.
Aaron or Brendan, are you looking that up?
I'm trying to
year
find
for
it
FIBA.
for you.
Where's our producer?
Bronze?
Come on, get our producer on this.
Right? I know. Where's the
We're
producer
in the
at?
$1 billion studio with a whole crew around us. Come on, let's get on this. That should have been in our notes you're handing us. You're telling us what to say,
I wish we had that.
Well, whatever year it was, 2008, 2010, whatever year it was somewhere 2012 maybe, somewhere in that range. I can't remember. But when that happened, that brought out the anger and the embarrassment in USA basketball. And after that,
it should.
It absolutely should. So it's something that we really shouldn't worry about. If they lose, it would be embarrassing. It brings out the anger and the disappointment in USA basketball, and then they go and absolutely run train on the Olympics. That's what happened when they took bronze in the FIBA tournament, whatever year it was. I can't remember.
We're working on it.
Brendan, how's it taking this long?
It's taking this long.
And then they went to the Olympics 2 years later and absolutely dominated. Mm-hmm. It's so. It sucks because you want to see the best of the best play together, but once again, I don't know if it's concerning.
The Pistons, United States, got bronze in 2006.
2006. Wow, I was a little off. So 2006,
and in 1998. So twice in my lifetime, I've gotten bronze. So,
and they respond angrily when that happens.
It just should never be an issue. I get beating China or whoever by 50 points is kind of like, why am I here? But when you play the big teams, when you play the better international teams, there's just no excuse. Team USA should be the best team on the court every single time, even with their top 3-4 best players out. And this year is really bad. It's kind of a problem, but I think they'll still be fine.
No, I agree. It's concerning, but it's not overly concerning yet. At the same time, though, as those contracts keep going up in the NBA, and that salary cap keeps going up, and the revenue keeps going up, guys are going to back out, man. The stakes are too high. When you have that ability, why would you risk your financial security and future?
It's a great question. I'm trying to figure out...
When you can add generational wealth to your family.
Yeah.
Generational wealth.
It's fair.
Like I said, I don't think there's any greater honor than putting that USA on your chest, but I get it. That's a lot of money to be putting on the line.
Mm-hmm. Selfishly, for the Pistons... Hopefully Andre's out there doing some recruiting.
Oh, I hope so. Absolutely.
Even though there's not a lot of recruiting to be done with this group.
There really isn't. There really is not.
But hopefully with the Olympics, maybe Blake... I doubt Blake will play by the time the Olympics come.
Yeah, I think he'll be done. Mm-hmm. I think he'll be done.
But when Drummond and Luke and Bruce and Derrick Rose are all there, they should be doing some recruiting.
Oh yeah, all those guys are going to be on Team USA.
So what was the reason?
Wood.
What was the reason that we had to reschedule from 2018 to move this to 2019? Because it's supposed to be every 4 years, right? So the last one was in 2014. Then it was supposed to be 2018 in China, and it got rescheduled to 2019. And I'm trying to remember why this happened. Because the first time since the 60s that it hasn't fallen in line with the Olympics, or an Olympic year.
You're the one that was just doing all the research.
I know.
I will not speculate on reasons. I won't do that because I don't want to start anything. So I'm just going to say I don't know. I remember hearing about this, but I do not know, and I'm not going to speculate.
Yeah. But, something we can speculate about. Everybody's going off on the latest NBA 2K ratings. Andre Drummond dropping from an 88 in last year's game to an 87 in this year's game. D. Rose getting an 80 overall. Just to name a couple of the 2K ratings. What did Blake Griffin come in at? 88, I believe?
88, yeah. 88.
Which is also kind of disgraceful. So 2K, they've got a weird rating system, because I'm not going to lie, when you look at D. Rose and you look at Blake, I feel like there should be more than just an 8-point difference there in their overall rating. Whether it means Blake should be higher or D. Rose should be lower, I'm not sure. But overall, some interesting stuff there.
Yeah, it is. I try not to get too rattled about 2K ratings just because it's just not worth it to me getting all upset about that. At the same time, I know 2K kind of lowers the ratings at the beginning of the year so that the guy can progress up and, get to a 90, 91 in Blake Griffin's case, and Andre can get to a 90, and Derrick Rose can get to a 74, and
wow, God. Really setting low expectations. Aaron coming in hot.
It's a joke. I'll get every Derrick Rose fan mad at me again. Get Derrick Rose at 81.
Your mentions are going to be filled for the next week.
Seriously.
Even though
As they should be.
Reggie Jackson's going to come in at like a 78, and that's actually going to piss me off.
Then in the game, D Rose is going to automatically start over
yeah,
Reggie
so
Jackson.
when I play, I'm going to have to change it to Reggie Jackson being the starter. Hopefully, my biggest pet peeve is 2K making these players look not like they're supposed to. Luke Kennard had brown hair last year and had the super chubby face. Hopefully they change that. So hopefully they actually make some of these guys look like they actually look. That's my bigger pet peeve at the end of the day. It's funny though because Twitter goes insane.
Yeah, they do.
They go insane over these 2K ratings.
It's full on mental breakdown. Just a complete loss of oneself. People lose their minds over this. And you guys, it's just not that serious.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It's just not.
Oh, wait. Is this from... I don't know if... Oh, never mind. I thought we had the full ratings for the Pistons next year. They're not. We only have Rose, Drummond, and Blake Griffin. But last year, Reggie Jackson was an 80 overall. So if they do what they usually do and move a guy down a couple... I mean, Reggie Jackson is going to come in at a 78, and Derrick Rose is going to have a better overall than him, and I will be triggered.
It's just not that serious. I get people love the game, and video games are a way of life and a staple and all that stuff, and I get it.
Right.
But it's just not that serious. Who cares what someone's 2K rating is?
Seriously.
You're banking on what's his name? Ronnie 2K or whatever? A guy who has no affiliation with the league. You're banking on his assessment of players. Get out of here. Who cares what he thinks? It doesn't matter.
I gotta say, on a different, not a different note, but with 2K, I don't know. To me, it's just getting it's getting stale.
It is. Oh, I was actually going to bring that up.
That's nothing. I haven't played 2K in 3 or 4 years because it's almost the same thing every time.
And it's they try to do stuff with the my career mode, and you can go be your player and go through the process of earning your spot. But I don't like that there's not multiple story modes, or that when you play these story modes, you have it for a year, and then it's okay, you made the league, signed your contract, and now it's just
now it's
boring.
just playing. Now you're just playing. There's no storyline, nothing.
To me, I don't want to play every game. It gets monotonous. I don't want to do that 82 times where I, at least early on, right? You sit on the bench, you check in, you go off, you check in, you go. It's just boring. I want there to be real storylines. Hey, you're in the game, down 4, lead the comeback. Simulate a few games, big home game versus, whoever, the Raptors, right? Must win home game. Extend the win streak to 5, play this game. It's just stale.
I just
thought the same thing over and over.
I even thought the mechanics in 2K19 were bad. I felt the gameplay just took a step down from 2K18. And I didn't really love 2K18 either. I think 2K17 was... 2K16 and 2K17 were 2 years that I played a lot. Whether it was, my park or my team. But these past few years, and especially this year, I barely touched the game.
Right.
And for a $60 commitment, I just don't foresee myself going out opening week, that it comes out, and putting out $60 for it.
And I still also wish there was a coach mode, not the GM mode that's different, just a coach mode where you had to go through and
call the plays. And
yeah, exactly.
That'd be interesting. I mean, I don't know if I'd love it, but I'd try it out. That'd be something new. It'd be something fresh.
At least it'd be different, it'd be different. Something. It's just gotten stale.
I didn't even get into my career this 2K. Like I'm not interested in it because the story. I think there's still. I think it was
play
last
overseas
year.
and then.
Well, I don't know if it was last year or the year before where there was like the sidekick's always really annoying, but
yeah.
it was actually I could find it if I rewatched Tim Forkin's 2K video. He's posted a bunch of content on his YouTube page about 2K, so definitely go check it out. It's at Tim Forkin TV, but he posted some good 2K videos. And there's just one year where there's just really annoying sidekick that just completely turned me off in the game mode.
Yes.
But I mean, now
what was like this like childhood best friend or whatever? Is that the one where you're talking
there's
about?
There's a couple of them. There's a couple.
Where it's
of
like
them.
To me, it got annoying.
There was like
it's just
friend of freak, and then there was some girl that was really annoing.
That was the childhood best friend.
Okay, I thought they both
who became
were,
like his manager or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember that.
They were both really bad.
That.
But I mean, even this year, I didn't play my career. I always do like a my league just so I can play a little bit with different teams and do my own like rebuilds and stuff. And then I just started playing a little bit of my team because I want to do some content for the Palace Pistons YouTube page, which you all should subscribe to, whether you're watching it on YouTube right now or you're listening to it on something else. You should go over to YouTube and subscribe there. But overall, 2K has definitely taken a step down. The community there just isn't all too great, and the $60 for the game and all the in-game purchases to really buy your way up, especially in my career,
worth it.
It's not worth it. It's really just, it's not fun. And I don't really think I definitely think it's decreased in popularity because I think more and more people are kind of realizing that. And in all reality, NBA Live is slowly on the come up. We used to play NBA Live.
Oh yeah,
NBA Live used to be
Amari Stoudemire on the cover with
the NBA Live was the game.
Yeah,
but their gameplay was just so
it's bad.
Poor.
They've got to get better.
They killed themselves with that.
Yeah. But I just don't. I think if Live makes some serious progressions, 2K's going to have some competition because I just really disliked the game this year, and I don't know as a consumer if I'm going to go out and spend $60 on it.
Right.
I'll probably wait until it's like half off.
You're talking about that. It's so crazy to me. Like because I haven't played 2K in forever, but I did play 2K18. That's right. I said 3 or 4 years, but I've played 2K18, and you're right about how it's $60 for the game, and then you get in the game, and now you got to buy your way up, buy all this virtual currency and everything. So you're spending and spending and spending. You're paying to play once you've already bought the game. It's a scam. A scam. You're just spending money on top of money on top of money.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. And again, the game is not that good anymore. It's not like new.
There's no ingenuity. Like it's stale. Like it's the same way with different game Madden. Like
I was just gonna say,
these games
Madden's doing the same
maybe
thing.
need to take a couple. Not that they ever would, because it brings in so much money. But sometimes you think maybe these games need to take a step back and take some time off. Like not release for a year or two because it's just so stale, and they need to come up with new concepts and ideas because it's the same game every year. Which they're not going to do that. That's not a viable option. But I mean.
But just change it a little bit over time.
It's just, not even that
the same game every year.
Not even that the game modes are the same, but the stuff inside the game modes is the same too. Every year in my team, it's 3-on-3, 5-on-5, weekly challenges that are just really boring and minimal. It gives you minimal currency to help your team. It's like there's nothing new to it. There needs to be something new. A coach's mode would be cool. Finding out some different things to do in my league. Letting you control your G League team and actually play with your G League a little bit. Like, that would be something neat.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
to be able to, like, take the scouting reports, then, like, go watch a training session or, like, a scouting and have to, like, talk to players and, like, improve their... It's almost like recruiting free agency. You know, like, you see the increase in morale, and it's, like, the increase in interest to where, like... You know, they would want to play for you if you drafted them. You know, they'd be willing to adapt to your system. They would come in and they'd get a better overall if you increase their morale to a certain level, things like that. You know, but it also would be realistic. Like, you could go talk to the top guy, but just because you talk to him and he has a high morale doesn't mean he'll be there when you draft.
Fix your game so then I can care about your ratings. Like, I just don't even care about the ratings because I'm just not all too interested in the game.
It's a stale game with bad ratings. I mean,
that's it.
That's all it is. And people are going to flock to buying it and complain about the ratings. You got to understand the whole product is just stale and underwhelming.
But you can accept that, that it's like...
It's underwhelming.
Absolutely.
And so people have caught on.
And people finally people are catching on.
They still like to play it. They still want to be able to play
Ronnie
it.
2K is going to unsubscribe from the podcast at the end, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, NBA Live, you want to sponsor the show, just
NBA Live, we're open for business.
We've been kind of talking you up this entire episode, so you want to maybe throw us a bone here. You know how to reach out to us.
Well, if you don't, on Twitter at Palace of Pistons, obviously our iTunes, SoundCloud channels, right? Maybe some of you right now are even listening on YouTube. If you haven't done it yet, go subscribe to that YouTube page.
That's huge for us. We need you to subscribe on YouTube. A lot of you guys are not subscribed. That's got to change. We need you to support us on YouTube and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, just click the button. That's all. It's nothing too hard, and it would be a big, big help for us. So, and not to be the guy that's like, man, if you subscribe, you really help the cause. We appreciate you. But, like, on a serious note, it does help. So, if you're willing to take that couple seconds, hit subscribe. We have good content, but we're not killing you with content where it gets annoying either. I think we've got that right mix. So, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, on iTunes as well. And, check us out on Twitter. Aaron, you can follow him at AJohnsonNBA. Ryan's at Ryan Paye. Myself at Media Brendan. And let us know. Again, as always, there's stuff you want us to talk about. Let us know. Comment on the tweet of the pod. We got Facebook going as well. Check out our Facebook page. Let us know. We're happy to hear from you guys. We're happy to talk about the content you want to hear.
And before Brendan signs us off for the week, just one more thing. The website, palaceofpistons.com, our home base. We got some great stuff coming for you guys. Truly do mean that. We have some new people joining the team. Eyes emoji. So keep your eyes out for that. We're going to have some stuff coming. But we're excited. We're going to keep putting some stuff out there. And, we love the support we're getting. So keep it going.
I think, Aaron, my career goal has become this. I want to be able to tweet just the eyes emoji and everybody to be, like, freaking out. That is my goal.
A little Blake Griffin.
That is my goal. I want to get to, like, just another, like, Thursday for Blake Griffin. That's what I want to get to. So, with that, thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next week here on the Palace Pistons Podcast.